realizing they're doing it.
Exactly.
I mean,
without realizing it.
Isn't that where the land grant is? It's part of Iraq.
Abraham's land grant. Google it in.
It's part of the land pack grant. It's Iraq.
Yeah.
Part of Afghanistan. How far does it go? All right down into the Euphrates, isn't it?
Yeah, we have.
Have you got a map of that?
We have a map. Why don't you let me find the map, and you can go through some of those other shocking stories.
Well, one of the ones, and this is this is an old article from 1994, November 25th. It's protecting endangered species is a World Wildlife Federation scam for one world government. So, I mean, the whole... it's an international trade in endangered species of flora and fauna is underway in Fort Lauderdale. But, it's not about that at all. The British Foreign Office in 1948 wrote the Constitution for the IUCN so that while apparently affiliated to the United Nations, the IUCN would be accountable to no one at all. Sites were set up in the same way. While the site secretariat is provided by the UN environmental programs, it's allegorical creators. So basically, this organization is not what it appears to be. It is the International Union for the Conservation of Nature found its sites in 1975. Both the content of the meeting as well as the extremely high security fashion in which it was organized demonstrate sites' role in the House of Windsor-centered world oligarchy's push for a tyrannical, feudal, one-world government under an environmental cover. So that's what it is. Yeah. And that was in a special report from the coming fall of the House of Windsor. So that's exactly what it is. It's just a front. It's another front. And that's how they do it. They pretend they're head of these organizations trying to help, but they're really, it's got an ulterior motive. That's what it is. And then this other article, it's Prince Philip is the Doge of the real Fourth Reich. I don't really know too much about that one, but that's what they say. And it's also in the book, The Coming Fall of the House of Windsor, the special report, which was October 28th. And that was 1994. So the headquarters of the Club of the Isles, today's Fourth Reich, is not to be found in Berlin or Bonn. It is in England at Windsor Castle, Lenny. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's shocking.
Today's Hitler is His Majesty Prince Philip Mountbatten, Duke of Edinburgh, Royal Consort, International President of the WWF, the de facto Chief Executive Officer for the Club of the Isles, and a man who has been quoted on more than one occasion expressing the wish to be reincarnated as a deadly virus in order to kill as many people as possible. Wow. I mean, that's really about global genocide, isn't it? That's what it's all about. Oh, you got the land pack there.
There's the Abraham's land grant. You can see it takes in a big swath. This is the land that was given to Abraham's children.
So what are the countries that it encompasses?
Right now, they have only this small little bit right here.
Yeah.
So they're definitely going to be moving to take over the rest of this. And that's what we're watching happening in world events.
You can see it happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. So
pretty amazing, isn't it?
Now let's go to, I want to talk about, here's a man who's unknown. He's in the European Parliament, heads the European Parliament.
This is a good
one. Blue, let's play this next clip and get the sound up right from the beginning, really up high, and let's let it go. And we'll come back to this. This is a great piece from the European Parliament, from a British representative.
This is a really good one.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Mr. Nigel Farage, President of the Europe of Freedom and Democracy.
But when we had a president, we'd see a giant global political figure. The man that would be the political leader for 500 million people. The man that would represent all of us on the world stage. The man whose job was so important that, of course, you're paid more than President Obama. Well, I'm afraid what we got was you. And I'm sorry, but after that performance earlier that you gave, and I don't want to be rude, but you know, really, you have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk. And the question that I want to ask, that we're all going to ask is, who are you? I'd never heard of you. Nobody in Europe had ever heard of you. I would like to ask you, President, who voted for you? And what mechanism? Oh, I know democracy is not popular with you lot. And what mechanism
Mr.
do the peoples of Europe have to
Mr.
remove
President.
you? Is this European democracy? Well, I sense, though, that you're competent and capable and dangerous, and I have no doubt that it's your intention to be the quiet assassin of European democracy and of the European nation states. You appear to have a loathing for the very concept of the existence of nation states. Perhaps that's because you come from Belgium, which of course...
There you go.
Wow.
Now this is a real. This man, he can see what's happening in Europe.
Who are you?
None of the top guys are elected. They're not elected.
Exactly.
This is the rising Roman,
They're appointed.
unholy Roman Empire. They're appointed. They're dictators. They're not elected by anybody, and they come out of nowhere. And here this wonderful, I can't remember his name, this English representative on the European Parliament.
He says, who voted for you?
Who's saying who voted for you?
We don't know you.
Yeah.
We don't want you.
Yeah, we don't want you.
Like, who are you? And he called him. He said,
Herman. His name is Herman Van Rompuy. Is the guy who's unelected. 4 minutes, yeah.
You could call him Von Rompuy.
Van Rompuy, and he's not elected. And this is what's happening in Europe as the Holy Roman Empire rises.
Yep.
It's a dictatorship, and it comes in the guise of being a democracy. But now the British people are starting to realize
see it.
this
They
is
can
not
see
a
it.
democracy that we've joined. This is an absolute dictatorship.
Yep.
And there's going to be a lot of sparks flying
I
in
think so,
England,
yeah.
between England and Europe, as
Oh,
the
you can
people
see it already.
start to rebel against what's happening in Europe. And this united Europe is going to be a problem. And what happens with England and is going to be very interesting in the next few months and years, but especially now.
Yeah.
We've got to watch this, because this is the rise. As
the
was
Fourth Reich.
prophesied, as all Bible scholars know, the prophesied rise of the
beast.
as mentioned in the book of Daniel, the beast, the fourth,
beast.
exactly,
With
fourth,
the 10 heads.
the last resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire, represented by the toes and feet of miry clay and iron. So
It's
there's
really-
a lot of shocking things happening behind the scenes. This is going on. Who's heard of him? And never mind, have they not heard of him in Europe? But he represents 500 million people.
Well-
He's the most powerful man
Well,
in
you know
Europe.
what the fellow
they
said?
haven't
He
heard of
said-
him here in Canada or the United
he had
States.
a loathing for the concept of the nation state. Did you notice how he said that?
Exactly.
You have a loathing for the concept of the nation
And he
state.
called him an assassin of nation states.
an assassin.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, you know what?
So these,
They're onto them.
These are the people we have to, and this is going to affect us here in Canada and in the United States. If you're in the United States, you must keep an eye on what's happening in Europe and in Rome and in Brussels, because there's this new dictatorship, this new superpower rising there.
Can we call it the rise of the unholy Roman Empire?
Absolutely.
The Fourth Reich?
Absolutely.
The beast
That's
power?
right.
You know, I
That's
mean,
trying
it's all
to-
happening. You can
that
see
wants
it.
to take control of the world. This is the Fourth Reich.
But is it having some problems? Is it behind schedule?
It's way behind schedule.
behind
And
schedule,
And the
Lenny.
miry clay and iron means it's weak.
It slips sliding
it's
away.
not able to form a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of ability through the internet for us to talk to people, to tell people,
Yep.
to wake them up, to get them to
Connect
talk
the
to their
dots.
friends and let them know that they've got to start to become aware of what's happening backstage in the global theater, because it's going to come out and bite them in
Coming
the
out
ass.
exactly. You've got to be aware. You've got to be just watching, read, watch. Just get that Bible out and blow the dust off.
Yeah.
You'll find a lot of great stuff in there.
So, Mrs. Steele,
Fantastic
another
stuff.
hour's gone by. We
It's gone
try and
by
wrap
too
up. Living at the
fast.
speed of light.
Yeah.
We live a year each day, so 6 years goes by in between our shows, and We try and bring you up to date. Next, we'll keep an eye this week on what's happening. That's shocking. And while our audience, we hope our audience will continue to keep an eye and read between the lines and watch for what's shocking, and send it to us at our Twitter site, or send it to us at our email. Email us with your suggestions and
shocking
other
suggestions,
other topics you want us to go through.
That'd be great.
And